Welcome to the Modern Data Company. I'm Vishal Venkatam, the field CTO for Modern. Everyone talks about moving data to get value, which increases the cost, complexity, and the risk associated with the data ecosystem. We at Modern have created the first data operating system, a data platform which is open, composable, and allows you to drive insights for the business at a pace that has never been seen before in the data ecosystem.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Track 5, Leadership in Action, Success Stories, Lessons Learned. My name is Bob Audette. I'm a partner at Guidehouse. I lead our data management practice across our commercial and public sector business. Today's session is really focusing on achieving data excellence in federated organizations. So I think you're going to hear some interesting comments from our audience, from our speakers today. Just to kind of talk a little bit about some of the highlights, and they'll dive into this in further detail, but we're really, since 2019, there's been an effort going on over in Germany at a subsidiary called Deutsche Bahn, which is one of the largest railway companies in Germany. And they've been executing a strategy to really optimize how they manage data. And with the strong focus on digitization, automation, and a really decentralized organization. So I think they're going to talk about data excellence and really achieving this mission, modernizing data, and why it's not necessarily a bad idea to drive data management from the IT side, which I find a quite interesting statement. So they'll explore that in more detail in the session. So a couple logistical things. The session's being recorded. Materials will be available in the HOVA app. The video recording will be available 3 months from now from the MIT CDOIQ YouTube channel, and you can watch the streaming video from there 3 months from now. With regards to Q&A, for those that are in the room, since we do have a virtual audience, I would really like you to raise your hand, have the mic in your hand, please, before you pose the question. Otherwise, those that are attending virtually will not be able to hear you. So if you could kindly adhere to that, I would really appreciate that. The second thing for those that are in virtual or even in the room, please use the HOVA app to pose questions for our speakers. And they're each going to introduce themselves, but I'll just briefly kind of name who we have today. So Christian Fürber, who's the founder and CEO of Information Quality Institute. We also have Markus Gilg. He's the Chief Data Officer at Deutsche Bahn, which is the largest railway company in Germany. And we have Asha Joseph-Pattani. She's a senior IT architect. And so I'm going to hand over to our speakers.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and to present our project, what we achieved in data excellence in our organization at DB Regio Bus. But first of all, because before we come into details of our project, we will introduce ourselves. And then Asha, please.
Hi, my name is Asha Joseph-Pattani. I work as a lead IT architect at Deutsche Bahn DB Regio Bus. I'm responsible for enterprise architecture management and digitalization. And in today's context, I'm leading this project together with in the department for Marcos, the data excellence. And
hi.
Christian.
Thank you. Again, from my side also, thanks for giving us the opportunity to present our work here. My name is Christian Fürber. I advise DB Regio Bus since 2019 as an external data consultant. I have a long background in data management since 2005. Started as an administrator, ETL developer, you would call it now probably data engineer, system owner, and then I switched from the IT-driven side to the business side and was data owner for the logistic data of the German Armed Forces together with my colleague Jochen, who's also here today. And in the past 10 years ago, we presented our work on a data quality strategy. Now a lot of things have evolved. Fortunately, the MIT Symposium has grown from back in the days maybe 150, 180 people to 2,000 people, including the online people. So it shows that these things are evolving here. And today we want to show you how we tackled the challenge of having a very diverse, very federated organization, you still can achieve data excellence here, and and we will show you that. Marcus.
Thank you, Christian. Yeah, my name is Marcus. I'm the head of IT CIO at DB Regio Bus. I'm since 2003 within Deutsche Bahn, and I worked in the traffic operations, in the e-commerce, in M&A, fleet management, and also maintenance management. And afterwards, I stopped over to the IT. And in 2015, we began to renew our IT because we are all delete our on-premise data centers and move to the cloud with all our applications. Our preferred partner is the AWS. And this was the basic or the beginning that we could do 4 years later our data excellence project, and this was the start. But before we go into details of the data excellence project, I just want to give you an overview of our company, who we are and where we are located. Yeah, DB Regio Bus is the largest bus company in Germany and one of the largest in Europe. We have around 11,000 buses under operations, and with 9,000 employees, we get a revenue of 1.2 billion euros per year. With our 11,000 buses, we transport around 500 million people per year. So that's a very huge sum or huge customer groups we have, and the most customers are pupils and students. And just to make it comparable, maybe to North America, where when you get Greyhound, for example, Greyhound have a fleet of 1,700 buses and get 60 million passengers per year. So we are located, and that's the federation of our company. We are located in 6 regions and got almost 30 local companies, and that makes it quite difficult to implement a big, huge data project. And our market, this is necessary, because this is our why we should why we should implement a data excellence project with use cases or with benefits, because our market is very competitive. In Germany, is it so organized that the government is owned the traffic areas, and for example in Frankfurt, where our headquarters is, we got 10 traffic areas in which the buses operate the bus lines. And when, for example, one of the contracts is running out, the government has to implement a new tender. And all companies should name their price. And for example, we say, okay, it's 1 million kilometers per year. We say, okay, we can operate it per 2.10 euros. And there's another company, and they say, okay, we can operate it per 2.9 euros, 2 euros 9 cents. So we are out of this traffic for almost 8 years. And this is because it's very competitive, and that's why by all our things we do, we have to think in benefits, or we have to think in use cases. But besides, and that's on the next slide, we have some money for innovations, and that's great. On the left side, you can see one of our autonomous buses. We call it the old-timer, the antique car of autonomous buses, because it's operated since 2017 in a small city in Bavaria called Bad Birnbach. And for example, when you're sitting there, you're in a restaurant, in a beer garden, you have some great German beers and a traditional bratwurst. Yeah, you can afterwards use our app called WeWe. In English is wherever you want, and you can order your autonomous shuttle from a bus stop nearby the restaurant to a bus stop nearby your hotel. So this is a very successful story, and we are thinking that the autonomous buses in the next 5-10 years will grow up, and we will huge our operations in this area. And besides, we also do some investments in electric buses and hydrogen buses, but this is government dependent, so we think so in the next 10 years we will have almost only electric buses at our company. So.
Okay, so I think you guys heard about the introduction about the DB Regio Bus from the point of Deutsche Bahn. Now towards the project, data excellence project, I would like to walk you through our journey. To be more precise, our journey started in the year 2019. As an organization, as Marcos was telling, it's very competitive in the market. It is very important for us as an organization to be future-oriented as well as to be able to integrate new mobility service. For example, all these new apps or the autonomous buses and such things. So we have to be ready to be future-oriented and to be able to integrate these mobility services and business models. And it is another thing what is very core to us was business strategy and IT strategy should be aligned to each other and they both should work hand in hand. Otherwise, it will never lead to a successful path. In the meantime, we also had in the beginning of 2019 multiple AI use cases. You see here predictive maintenance, fleet optimization, prediction of accidents. One of the use cases which we found very important was predictive maintenance. Being pioneer in the transportation industry, it was our responsibility to deliver high quality service and to avoid any last minute service breakdowns. It being a German company, it was for us very important and critical. And then it was very clear for us where we wanted to go. But we had certain issues. Why can't we not implement this AI use case? We started slowly to evaluate and analyze where we stand with the data setup. We started to analyze, is this organization ready for such change? As I think we have heard a lot in last 2 days. Any data initiative, it's a change in the mindset. It's a cultural change. Let me now hand over to Christian and he will explain to you what were the results of our analysis.
So this was the point when I stepped into DB Regio Bus as the data management guy. And as Asha told you already, we started to analyze what are the root causes. Why can't we achieve value with AI? Now everyone wants to do AI, everyone does AI. Some nice presentations at conferences promise you a lot from AI. Data scientists back in the days were the only roles that were really established in the companies. There were missing engineers and so on. And we were looking at it because we had engineers, we had data scientists that did it. What is going wrong here? So what was very obvious is that we had, of course, trouble to get the relevant data. Yeah? We had access to certain data, but they were not really complete, they were not really timely, and of course they were not really accurate. So the data quality was an issue because we were looking at the data from a new side that has not been touched before. There was a lot of financial reporting, of course, done by the data warehousing team, but there was not so much taken a look at the data that you need for such AI use cases. So we discovered a lot in the raw data of data quality deficiencies. Then it was unclear to us, to the team that was developing the AI algorithms, what does this mean? Yeah, the different labels that are on top of the fields. Yeah, we had trouble to interpret it. There's some very important concept called, or some very important field Bahnstelle, which is like a cost center for organizational departments in DB Regio Bus. And sometimes if a bus runs, somebody owns the bus and somebody runs the bus. Yeah, there's a difference between it. There's a very narrow difference. But if you want to see, for example, just an easy analysis, how many buses does a certain company have in DB Regio Bus, then you already got inaccurate results because sometimes the one that was running the bus for somebody else was having the Bahnstelle there, and sometimes the one that was holding the bus as an owner was having the Bahnstelle there. So even easy questions couldn't be answered, and it was due to missing or unclear business interpretation and ambiguous interpretation. And then we have had severe identification issues, like important entities like a bus for DB Regio Bus, like a bus line like an employee, yeah, like a bus stop, yeah. They did not have common identities because we were so federated. We are so federated. So in the silo within the company or even within the region, it worked well to identify a bus uniquely. But as soon as you wanted to go a step higher, you had trouble. Yeah? And there's a big difference between the regions. Some regions are very well harmonized and others are not harmonized at all. Yeah? So we had identity issues, and how do you want to predict the maintenance of a bus if you cannot identify the bus in all the different touch points where the bus is stored. Yeah? So, but those were the symptoms basically. Those were not the root causes. The root causes lie, as so often said, not in the technique, not in the data, they lie in organizational issues. And what we found out is there is business policies, what Bahnstelle has to be maintained in the different systems, but they were contradictory. Yeah? One region said, okay, put the Bahnstelle of the owner of the bus into the field, and the other one said, no, put the Bahnstelle of the user of the bus into the field. And yeah, you had business policies that were doing the wrong thing. They didn't standardize. They promoted heterogeneity and incompatibility of data. Yeah? And the end-to-end process, which is still too much disregarded from my point of view in the whole community. The end-to-end data maintenance process, where the data is coming in to the company, was not really existent. Yeah, there were the business departments. They introduced one time a certain system. For that system, everything was well described, but the bus left the system throughout its life cycle, and then the rest was not really described. What the user at the end of the day has to enter into the system. So that's also a big issue that we discovered. And then we discovered that between the systems there were a lot of manual processes. We call these Drehstuhlschnittstelle, you know, these office chairs that you have, where you sit down and you can twist. You know why you can twist? Because you enter the bus into this system, and then you enter the bus into this system, and then you enter the bus into this system. And we discovered, for example, the bus had to be entered in a minimum of 6 systems, and of course this is not going to happen always. Yeah? And there were really good people at the basis that tried their best to do it, but it's not achievable to do it in a manual way. And we did not have that only for buses. We also had it for bus lines, for bus stops, etc. And then, of course, there was no official data ownership. There were a lot of people that were taking care of data at some point of influence area, but there was no official data ownership. And the transparency about data quality was not existent, basically. There were some error reports, and everyone was knowing there was an issue, but no one could touch it. No one could say, okay, we have this and that issues, and we are at the level of this data quality here. And then there was no one who really took the overall coordination of it. Yeah, there was no one who was taking care of the standardization efforts that had to be done, for example, to unify the different identities of buses within the companies, or of bus lines, or of bus stops. So these were the 6 root causes that mainly influenced on how we defined the data strategy.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. So, yeah, this was the beginning to implement, or to create a data strategy. Yeah, and this slide is very full of information, but I try to give you some key facts. What did we do, and what was our learning about the creation of a data strategy? First of all, it's very necessary that the data strategy is business focused. So we have on the top, you can see automation, ability to drive the company with data. This is very necessary for us. And the digitalization. These are the 3 key facts for the data strategy that they could support these 3 goals of the business. And we implemented 4 pillars. The first one is to increasing data transparency. Yeah, this is the basic. Yeah, we have to do it in a data catalog, or we implemented a data catalog where we have our related data documented and structured. And as Christian said at the beginning, we have no overview what kind of data we have. We have no overview where it's used. We have no overview in which systems are all the data objects are used. So this was the first step. And afterwards, not afterwards, but a second step is to assuring a high data quality. And this is my favorite. Yeah? Christian will later show you how we measure data quality and how we improve that. So this is very necessary because our management, our board of directors can see it and can say, okay, if I have a high data quality, I can steer the company better than yesterday, better than in the former days. The third part is the data integrity and availability. They're the basic, a data lake. Yeah, I think we started with the data lake, and this was very crucial for us, and to reduce our silos and put all data in the data lake. And Asha will show you later how our data lake is structured. And the fourth one is the data usage. This is the next step, because we are on our way to a data-driven company. And for that, at the moment, we don't know how many datas and how many benefits we could create from this data we have. So this is because we would like to implement more use cases or business models besides our core business. So this is the next step, that we increase the usage of our data. And so how we implement it, or how we try to implement it. I will tell you a story. At the beginning it was so, okay, let's do data strategy or data culture, implementation, data governance in our company, do it like the normal way. So we create a strategy and say, hey, perfect, and afterwards we have some projects to realize this strategy. Therefore, I'm going to the board of directors with this nice slide and say, hey, come on, we have to do our data strategies, these are the benefits, and we have to implement it. And as I told there, this is the benefits from this strategy and what we are going to do. And then I look up and see the people sitting there, and we call it in Germany, they look like cars. They don't know what I'm talking about. And this was the moment we started to do it other way around. Yeah? Just not from the top-down project and implement a strategy and then the projects. We come by the use cases. And therefore, Asha and Christian will tell you something more about it.
So, yeah. So our tactic was we were searching for some driver, somebody we can follow in the company who can support this tremendous effort of transforming the company into a data-driven company. And if you do it by yourself and you do a data governance or data excellence initiative, then it's always the question, what is the benefit of it? What is the value? Why should I invest in that? You will always be asked for that. So we were searching quite long for some nice giants out there in the company that were trying to push the company to the next level. That's not data. That's not digitization in the focus. There's some other drivers that are more close to revenues, to costs, to transformation of the company. So we found like maybe 3 or 4 different initiatives in the company that were on the highest board level from the location, from the importance, and try to set up a tactic how we can be the small fish here that follows this big giant here and implement our data strategy here. And we were there quite successful. We found an initiative that was called Strong Bus, Starker Bus. Yeah? And that was also a strategy that the overall company has to become more efficient and more customer oriented and so on. And we talked to the people that were running this initiative, and try to find out what are their pains, what are their use cases, because everyone is working with data now. And everyone discovers some data quality issues and has some limitations due to data quality or data transparency or data availability issues. And then we discovered big overlaps in interests. Yeah? They couldn't achieve a lot of things because of the lack of data transparency, availability, and data quality. And we realigned our strategy and oriented the strategy on the use cases from this big initiative. Yeah? And one was the performance management. They set up a whole performance management with a lot of KPIs to improve the overall performance of the company. And there we had our data use cases that made us establish different things here. So I want to get into more detail how we establish the different pillars of our data strategy. Yeah? It's not a linear approach. It's not a linear way. If you read any business papers or books, I wrote myself some book chapters in German where I have a 6-step plan, and it's very linear, and then you do this and that, and that. It's not going to happen like that. Yeah? We live in a very agile world with, where you have to realign every single week and look how you can achieve things. So I try to give you some guideline, yeah? But it may not be in the sequence as we did it. Yeah? It's a very curvy road, actually, and you always have to find your way there. So, but what we started with anything was to do a crude matrix, to do a data system matrix, to find out where is our data being created in which systems, and what data is being created in the systems. It was a kind of an effort that needed some patience, and you needed a lot of experts, but it had two benefits. We knew after that exercise, we knew where the data was being created, in which system. We knew how redundant the data maintenance was, and we knew all the experts that know about these data objects. So that was the first exercise to get some data transparency without a data catalog. We just did it in Excel, actually. Of course, now we need a data catalog, and it's good that we have one. So we conserved all the knowledge that we collected in the data catalog and also collected some available business knowledge from documents. But we provided, as a data excellence initiative, the services, so the people, the data experts who have no time anyway, weren't forced now to do a new job here, which they would usually not do. Yeah? So we collected their documentation that they already had and conserved that in the data catalog and got them slowly into the new way of working with a centralized data catalog. And then also a very, very important prerequisite to create transparency and also for the ownership tasks that followed in the adjacent steps is we connected the business with the data over a bottom-up data object model. When we did this crude matrix, we didn't have a data object model yet. We just had a list of systems that were important for the company, and then we asked, okay, what are you creating in this system? Are you creating any employee data? Are you receiving any employee data? Are you creating any bus lines in there? Are you creating any bus stops? And then we discovered the data object model bottom up. And everyone understands now the definitions because they come from bottom up, from their way, how they work. Yeah? And this serves now for us to connect the physical tables with this business-oriented data object model. And now we exactly know, okay, the bus lines in the region north is stored in this and that tables. Yeah? So we can directly deep dive into the technique. And that's a big transformation effort, actually. You need to connect the business with the physical side. I've seen a lot of vendors of data catalogs that try to avoid the business to see the tables, but actually you want them to see what is the physical name of the table where your data lies. You want them to not stay where they are. You want them to get more into the technique. So that was a big topic, and it's never finished. Yeah? We always discover new tables, and we can dynamically connect them over the data catalog. And then it's also important, once you know your expert, to review the priorities. Of course, we had the priorities from the big initiative, but also those people that do the work, they also have some priorities, and you need to realign here also to see can you fulfill some benefits, some value for them. Yeah? So that was also important to do that. And then, coming from the task side, we were able to formally define responsibilities and say, okay, now we did that, now you know who benefits from it, so now we need some formality. And we were also able to talk to the management then to define data ownership roles here. Yeah? And then it's an ongoing effort. Number 6 is get data owners and data experts involved. Of course, it's not like in a movie, everything is fine and now we have a happy end and everyone is maintaining the data in the catalog. Of course, it's not the status that we already achieved. There's some people that do and that work very good with it, and some people that still don't like to do it. And it's a continuous effort to support them during the behavioral change that lies in the transformation.
Okay, so as Marcos have mentioned, we wanted to ensure data transparency, Christian had explained. Now comes, how do we ensure high quality data availability? In German, we call this a Wimmelbild. I would tell in English, a diagrammatic representation of our data management platform. In order to break all these data silos, we wanted to have a central data lake. So we have a cloud-based, scalable, I don't want to mention what are the features of the cloud-based central data lake, okay? We have several services integrated into our data management platform. We have the data catalog, which Christian had explained, to ensure the data transparency. We have data processing. We bring the data from multiple applications into the data lake. We curate the data, or we process the data, we apply, we cleaning, we do profiling, and the high quality data is available. On the top of that, we also have data quality measures, data quality rules for every data source that we connect to the data lake. Another topic is master data management. I think for us as an organization, not for us, for everyone. Master data is one of the key things because the same data flows through many systems. And if you don't have a central master data management tool, we will come into a chaos. Another thing what we would like to have is our data lake also act as a data hub. That means important data sets that is brought into the data lake, we create APIs. REST APIs is our preferred mechanism, and these APIs are available in our API portal. And we have a proper governance mechanism so that the consumers can have access to these data. In summary, so with our data management platform, we bring the data from the applications. We implement data quality rules. We clean the data. And the high quality data is available for different consumers. Consumers can be dashboards. Consumers can be scientists. Consumers can be also the application owners who would like to have a clean data. Then coming to the best part, I think I would not go deep dive into it, but so this is our data lake architecture. We have it is built on AWS. We have as in many data lake now we have different layers: ingestion layer, serving layer, and core layer. We bring the data. Okay, data can be connected from. We have a huge lot of applications in our IT landscape. Data can be connected via API, streaming, file transfer, direct database connectivity, because we have a lot of legacy applications as well. Will be brought into our ingestion layer. Then the data is processed, and the processed data is available in our serving layer. So this is the most, and we also create, for the data that is available in the serving layer, we also have created REST APIs. As you can see here, we have also data catalog connected to our serving layer so that it brings the transparency of what all data we are having in the system, so that any consumers, when there is a new application, when the business owner would like to analyze a particular data set, they could view in our data catalog and see what are the set of data, where is the data coming from. So, and I think it is time for me to hand over. One of the most important thing, data quality rules. I think Christian will take another few slides to explain in detail about how we have implemented the best automated data quality rules in our data management platform.
Thank you, Asha. So now we have the data a bit more transparent, and we have the data available. And a big thing then was, how do we assure that the quality of the relevant data, very important, of the relevant data, we do not want to boil the ocean here, we want to have high quality of the relevant data. And how do we achieve that? As I said earlier, we had a good overview about where all the source data lies. And that's very important because data quality is a topic for source data. Yeah? Because if you are able to manage and steer quality in the source, then everyone who takes this data will profit from it, obviously. So the first thing was to get all the discussions in an ordered manner, because the company was already aware that data quality is a big issue or big topic and important topic, but there were more or less some emotional argumentations, and who screamed the loudest got the most attention, yeah? As it's very often. And then we wanted to have a more tangible way to get hands-on data quality, and we wanted to have a clear process that follows very standardized steps to improve data quality. And the first thing is you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So what you need to do is to find out what are the requirements for data quality and put it into some kind of visibility, which is our data quality scorecard or data quality dashboard that we created in the second step. And the data quality rules are not made up from us. Of course, we are IT. We don't know what the data has to be actually and what are the requirements. We collected the data quality rules from the experts that we already knew from the other exercises. Yeah? And asked them, okay, what's supposed to be in the field Bahnstelle? Is it the Bahnstelle who runs the line, or is it the Bahnstelle who owns the line? Yeah, similar to buses. And we tried also not to make a big data quality project to collect 1,000 of rules that no one can manage. We tried to focus on the important things that we already knew we need in order to do, for example, predictive maintenance, or to automate some processes, yeah, that were manual. So we did a very, very close focus. Of course, we had, I think we have now around 150 data quality rules that we measure in the source systems, and that we make transparent with this intangible, with this data quality dashboards. And then we had the task again, a new task for the company, a new process for the company that did not have an owner. So that way, it was much easier to talk to the management again and say, okay, we once had, okay, we need some data owners, here's the task for it. And now we need it, because otherwise we will stop here. We know then the state of data quality, but no one will take care of it, so it's lost efforts. Yeah? So that was very clear to them that we needed data owners. So they gave us the task to identify the correct data owners in the different regions and in the headquarters, and then go to the different boards and get approval for it. And after that, we got our names on it, and now we have data owners here. Yeah? And then the second thing is, of course, they just got a new role. They were existing people. They got a new role that they do not know. They do not know how to improve data quality, or even what data is, some of them. Yeah? So we now had the transformation and change management effort to get them engaged into data quality improvement. Yeah? And yeah. And now we are at the step in the project that we even integrate our data quality KPIs into performance management. So we have data quality KPIs for the leadership areas, yeah, where they are getting measured against, which gives us a new good momentum to improve data quality. This is our dashboard that we have. What you see here in the bar chart is the different data quality rules. We also have benchmarks that we have not set yet to the different levels. It's not necessary to achieve 100% for every single data quality rule. Some rules are also not very accurate. They also have false positives in it. So you need some kind of some kind of goal setting here that we integrated into our dashboard. And which is also really cool to see is how do the different regions perform with the same data requirement. That also gives organizational dynamics, which is very positive here. And you can drill down here into different views. It's very dynamic. It's done with click reporting. And you can even go to the records that are invalid for the operational side, for the data stewards, in order to cleanse the data. Yeah, and actually, what I am a bit, when I get a bad gut feeling is sometimes when I read things about data mesh and data governance, because a misunderstanding, I think, here is that everyone does data governance in a centralized way. From my experience, we never did it in a centralized way. We always did it in a mesh. We always created a mesh, a network with data owners from business side in order to improve it. And now what's new is probably get the business side also involved into data consumption more and developing of data products. But we never said, okay, this is the centralized data team who is responsible for data quality. There may be a few companies out there that did that, but I've never seen that. So what we did here is also we appointed data owners in the different regions and in the headquarters. The headquarters are more or less the representatives of the consumer side. The regions are more or less the representatives of data producers and also consumers from their point of view. And there we have some working groups for the most important objects where we talk about standards, about the entity IDs. Yeah? How can we get a common ID for bus lines? How can we populate a common ID of buses? How can we improve the quality of profit-relevant data? Yeah? And that's very good because we are in continuous communication. Every 3 weeks we talk to them for an hour time boxed and get on the issues that need to be done to make the data valuable for the use cases. Okay, and then now the statement why it's a good idea actually to employ IT for that, for this role, for the coordination, for the driver of the initiative. Because before I got to know Marcus and Asha, I would always tell my customers, don't start on IT side. It's going to fail. Yeah? It will definitely fail. IT always loves complexity and algorithms and systems, but data is not that important. But actually here, first of all, we had different circumstances. They came from the business side. They were part of a very important business department. And secondly, IT is transforming its role now. Everything is moving into the cloud, so it's not that much to do to run applications. Of course, there's still a lot to do, but it's shifting now. And IT knows the new cloud technologies and AI sometimes much better than the business departments already know. And the most important thing is IT has a neutral role. You do not drive it from a certain business department, finance side, production side, marketing side, sales side. Here we negotiate between the different stakeholders of data. And at the end of the day, everyone in the company needs more data automation, needs AI to improve their processes. And we are providing services and trying to negotiate between the different departments and also identify the key points that we need to focus in the federated data governance. So we take over basically the data platform team in a mesh maybe, together with a federated data governance team who is not telling the others how to use data, but who is collecting the requirements, making them consistent, and getting the right priorities from the different stakeholders, and then coordinating the different data roles to achieve a high data excellence. So at the end of the day, no matter where you drive it, you need somebody who drives it and who doesn't only follow their own interests, should be somehow neutral. And at the end of the day, no one can do this solely. It's a collaborative effort. Everyone has a stake in data. Yeah? So everyone needs to be involved at the end of the day.
Okay, so this is one of my best slides. I think in the last two days, we have heard a lot. Data initiative. Every data initiative requires a change in the mindset. There is a lot of change management required. Regardless if we are, as IT drives the show or not, it is an effect or impact is actually if we work together as a team, if everybody has the same goal. And as Dr. John Cotter had mentioned, right, whenever we do a change management project, it is very important to generate short wins, celebrate the wins and communicate the wins. And it is time for us to celebrate and communicate our wins. Okay. One of the most critical things, what we have seen in the complete project is that 3 core pillars: people, process, and technology. Only if these 3 things are bound together, tightly bound, we could work in a harmonized manner. So people, right? We have identified the data objects, what we require, and then owners were assigned so that we have a proper mechanism that people part is done. Then what happened? How can we improve the process? What have we done? We have automated data, Christian had already mentioned in his slide, end-to-end processes were not clean and clear. So we as IT try to automate a lot of processes so that it helps our data owners or data producers as well. Then we were trying to connect with the technology part. We created a data lake. We connected most of the data sources into a data lake. Automated data quality checks were done together with the people. After we could achieve all these things, what was the most important thing what we achieved was we were able to improve our profit performance dashboards or reports to 55.6%. So for us, it was a milestone, really milestone to show the people, okay, after all these people, process, technology, what these things could bring us in a real value to the board, okay? Because of this project, we could bring such a big impact or value to the organization. I think we are running out of time, and I would hand over to Marcos to explain what were the lessons learned.
Thank you, Asha. But first of all, my personal lessons learned from this project is, and as Christian mentioned, never run our data from IT side. I think if you're in the role of a CIO, and the I stands not for information system, or you have no chief application officer or chief the network officer, it stands for information, and data is a part of information. So if you're in this role, keep this in mind, because it's very necessary that you are, I think that you are, have the data, the importance of the data in mind when you do your job. So, but what kind of lessons learned were from the whole company? And I will point out some 2-3 things. What I think is the necessariest one or the best ones. First of all, the data ownership is federated. Yeah? It's very federated. You can't have it as Christian mentioned, can't have it in our opinion, in a data office and do it from there. So it's federated. It's all over. We have 9,523 employees, and we have 9,523 data owners. So this is our way. This is our thinking about it. And you have to keep in mind that data excellence is a journey. Start small, think big, but go on, step by step, and do it. Just do it. Yeah. And of course, you have to implement or involve all data producers and all the business units. What are you doing to do? And this was the success of our story, that we do it afterwards. We have some discussion. This was no no easy way, but afterwards we have a great connection to our business units, and therefore we are successful with this data project. And as we saw on this slide, very nice slide for the board of directors, measure before you start. Yeah. So you can show you can show your success, your benefits from doing that, and focus on it. Yeah. Just focus on the related data, and go on further, and just go step by step and start fast. That's the last thing.
Yeah.
But the very last thing is, and I think the very important point is that you have the very best people on such a project. And thank you, Asha, and thank you, Christian, for that, for this great job so far. And this is why this is a success story for us. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for the audience. Thank you for online joining us, and we are happy for our questions.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I have a question. So I understand that it's more about data quality, right? And of course, all the data rules must be involved, and that was the presentation about. But how do you guys organize it yourselves together with the tech itself, engineers, the business part from the organization perspective in order to deliver the project? I mean, other than data, what roles and departments of the company did you guys engage to deliver the project?
Okay, I can start with Christian. So we have a technical team who is responsible for the data management platform. We have the business units who are the producers. Okay, we have the data excellence team who coordinate all these streams together. Okay, and then as we have explained, we have identified, we have not gone with whole set of data. We have identified a certain set of data objects. We prioritize the data objects. So our focus was on certain set of data objects. Then we evaluated who are the producers, how do we identify the owners, and then it is also important that we get the approval from the stakeholders, right? Data owners may not be in the top level of the hierarchy. So it was like a harmonized, coordinated action from this data excellence project as a team, which included the business users, which included the technical users, which included the analyst and everyone. So it was like, that is why I think such a project is relevant to start off such a journey.
If I'm
course.
allowed to add to this, there's no single project that is creating solely data products. There's a lot of teams now developing in the whole company that develop data products. And as I said earlier, with a big shark on the slide, we had this big initiatives that were creating a lot of data products in the performance management area. And they were the ones that built the data, the dashboards for it and the KPIs for the performance management, and came up to us, this and that is relevant. We helped them to find the lineage, and then we did our job in the back end, basically, but together with the whole company. So basically, it's different teams. We are the foundational platform team, if you want to call it like that, who is aligned with all the different teams that do data products. Of course, we cannot serve everyone, so we have a prioritization from the big strategic initiative who we are mainly serving. But we had other teams coming up to us if we can help them also. Yeah, which showed us, okay, we are doing the right job probably here and creating some value for the company. So they would come up to us, and now we are serving not only this big initiative but also other departments. But we always have a close line to the management in order to not do things and promise things that we cannot deliver, because of course this all costs money and resources, and you cannot solve the problems from the past decade. Yeah.
Thanks. So a lot of this relies on data owners, and often those data owners are related to or are the producers of data. How do you influence them to get involved in something like this, especially when it's inherently not useful to them, in fact, probably more work for them?
I will answer on that. That was difficult. That is a good question. Yeah, it's anyway how do you involve all the different roles and especially the data owners. We did this time. We did really an approach coming from a task. We piloted things like the data quality dashboard existed before we even had data owners. Yeah, and we identified things from the central project team, set up a network of data experts with potential data owners and stewards, but we didn't call them like that yet. We didn't say, okay, you will have a new role in future. We just started to do the work with them. Yeah, and there was not much resistance to them because they understood this is a problem and it's important that we need to work on it. That was good because the business focus made us here avoid resistance because everyone knew this was an issue and everyone wanted to solve it. So that was a good thing to do, to focus on the real problems and not add an extra and an extra and an extra topic on it, and coming from the task. Do the process, the data management process first, and then ask the management who will be responsible for that, or do you want to stop it after the project? Yeah, and that was like a middle-out approach. It was bottom-up, and then at a certain point, of course, you need official appointment, and you need to go to top management and do some top-down approach, and then you didn't have much resistance because everyone understood what's needed. Yeah.
If I could add on it,
almost
we had
everyone.
A lot of change management as well, na?
Yeah.
Lot of communication, lot of making them aware. So these data quality dashboards. So I think that dashboards were one of the key thing that people could see themselves. They could see it, right? How good or bad the quality is. So I think the change management plays a very important role in such data initiatives.
Thank you for the presentation and also for making the link to the mesh, because I think, and it's very much my impression what you also said, okay, we have been doing federated data management for a long time, otherwise you would not survive. But I would like to see your view on the mesh. So if I understand correctly, it's mostly provisioning of data, so it's more the providing domains. How did you structure those? Do you see that possibly there should be a distinction between consuming domains and providing domains? And on the other hand, do you have a formal definition for your data products, or it's just everything that basically you're producing? So these are two questions.
We are now developing or realigning our data strategy. We came from a very defense-oriented side. And the fourth pillar was data usage, creating more data values, automating processes, creating new business models for the company. And within this column, we already did some preparations to also involve the consumer side. Sometimes they overlap, of course, but sometimes it's totally different people that want to use data. Our role that we already have now is to negotiate between the consumer side and the producer side, yeah? And get the requirements from the consumer side to the producers so they can produce clean data in the whole value chain. So that's something we have now. Yeah? And now coming from the production side on a very data quality oriented side, we now go into the offense and do more use cases now. And the use cases, the data products are diverse. Yeah, we have app projects where we develop platform models, yeah, basically. Then we have AI projects, of course. We have classical reporting that will not die. I'm sorry, it will also exist, and there will be also future new requirements on that. And then we have simple demands from people that just want raw data access. So we treat everything as a product, basically. Here we treat the data, the raw data as a product, and we treat the KPI as a product, the whole report as a product, and the AI model as a product. It's, for us, there's no real border, yeah, and it's maybe developing, evolving definition. Yeah.
I did have one question from online. This one's been in the back of my mind, and I think 4 other people had the same thought. Sounds like a great success story. The question is, how long did it take you to put this full architecture in place and implement? Just kind of curious your thoughts on that.
Okay, so as I mentioned in the second slide, our journey started in the year 2019, and I would like to emphasize that the journey continues. Okay, we started off with if you are talking more on the architecture side, we had done a small POC. We evaluated how the infrastructure should scale up with the data sources we have, and then slowly we added on the products and services that are available in the market, which could help us in scaling our infrastructure. And regarding the project, right? So project also started along with that in 2019, and the use case came. We evaluated, analyzed where do we stand. We took the stock of what are our problems with the data setup. We identified the objects. So it is like, I would not tell the journey stopped. The journey still continues. And then this is where we have achieved until now. That is the quick wins, right?
Okay, I thank you guys very much. Great presentation. I think we're at time.